Bitcoin is finally making the move that we've been waiting on for months. Bitcoin is now finally above our long-term overhead resistance level after testing it and piercing it over and over and over again last week. This level has finally not only been conquered, we still have about 18 hours left on the daily candle to go, but we have one day above. We have another day above, and now we're on day 3. Things are looking really good for Bitcoin and for the wider cryptocurrency market, despite the bearish signals that I was anticipating on the 4-hour time frame. Now, I want to talk to you about what I think is going to be happening next for Bitcoin. There are some really strong price targets that we're going to be paying attention to, and also when are we going to see a lot of our altcoin positions start to recover? Because like you, I'm also waiting on some positions that have been down for far too long, and I'm so excited to see them reverse. We're going to be talking about all that in this video today here on the Coin Bureau Trading channel. My name is Aaron Dishner from The Better Traders. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This video is going to get a lot of you really excited because we are seeing a lot of very clear liftoff signals for Bitcoin. So let's go over here to TradingView. All we're looking at is BTC on Binance against, well, rather on the USDT market. And today, we are seeing a massive one-day increase of, so far, 2.6%. This is a really good sign. Now, the last couple of times we saw BTC try to push above this resistance level last week, we got lots of pierces. And you should know by now that, even look at the closes here of the daily candles, guys. Like, this is insane. This level was significant, but all those pierces, pierce. The more pierces that we get of a support or a resistance level in a really short amount of time, the weaker it becomes. You guys know this. You've been watching my videos on this channel. You've been learning a lot. Now, why was I feeling bearish? Well, I was feeling bearish last week because we had these TBT bearish divergence signals on the 4-hour time frame. The last time, and you can't blame me for why I was feeling a little bit antsy, the last time we saw these guys, the price short term fell down 7%, then continued to fall down another 15%. Now, we're not seeing that same type of reaction right now. Obviously, we're seeing BTC from this signal, it only fell down like 3%, and it's actually higher. It's actually above that signal. So I'm happy. All of you that are thinking like, oh man, didn't you want to go down? No, I want to see the price of everything go back up. Are you serious? Like, no way. Not only that, but we also have a TBO breakout, the first confirmed TBO breakout on the 4-hour time frame, I think since December, but I have to zoom out and see way back over here, January. Now, I am not really excited about this specific signal, but if we get 3 in a row, I'm definitely going to be paying attention. But right now, this is to be expected on a really big 2% move on a 4-hour time frame. That's a lot for Bitcoin. But going back to the daily time frame, I need you to understand the distinction because I actually watch 4 different time frames. I pay attention to the weekly, to the daily, to the 4-hour, and to 30-minute. No, I'm not schizophrenic. Yes, it's important to zoom out. I look at every single chart on 4 different time frames for a very good purpose. And I want to talk about that quickly before I talk about BTC and the targets, because a lot of you are confused. If you're new to trading, you're probably going to be zoomed in, hyper zoomed into the 5-minute time frame, which is a really bad idea. Yes, while you could catch some really early moves, you are missing out on the macro big picture trend. And that's where the weekly and the daily time frame really come into play. Talking about signals, yes, the TBT bearish divergence signal on the 4-hour time frame was a good early warning alert for a bearish pullback. We didn't see that happen. The 4-hour time frame, as much as I love it being an early, not even this, it is early. It's an early warning alert time frame in that it is not as strong as the daily or the weekly. The longer it is, the stronger it is. And I'll let your mind go wherever you want to at that. But seriously, the longer the time frame, the stronger the confirmation. If you're using indicators and you get an indicator like a bullish or a bearish indicator on the weekly time frame, that is a very, very strong signal. Compare the weekly to the 5-minute. So why am I using the 30-minute? I have a couple of special top secret indicators that I use on the 30-minute time frame, but it's mostly just for seeing like the quick little moves that are happening. But why spend time on the 4-hour time frame if it's not strong? Well, I want to be aware if things are starting to shift before they materialize on the daily time frame. I believe 6 times earlier because 4 times 6 is 24. Please God, let that be right. I'm just let's keep going. On the daily time frame, the main thing that I've been telling you guys is this overhead line of resistance. If you've been following me on X, if you're in the Coin Bureau Discord server, you've been seeing me post about this a lot. You should also know there's a huge difference between a test and a pierce. Piercing a level is a massive sign of weakness for that level. And in this case, it's a really, really good sign. So what about some possible targets for BTC? Where do I think it's going to be going next? Well, the best way to do this, we could actually do it two ways, but one of the easiest ways to do this is to have these, what I call resistance rays. Now, these rays are available over here in the drawing tools section. If you go down here to a horizontal ray, it's basically just a line that extends to the right. That's it. So we don't have the lines going all the way to the left. We don't want them. And this is basically giving us stairs in a way. So we have a zone here at about 88,500 to just a little bit under 89,000. Then another target here at 91, 92, 95K on the nose, 99K, 100K, all that stuff. These are targets, and they have been targets. Every single time we put in an upper wick like this, especially on an exaggerated pump like we saw back here on April 2nd, this pump right here on the 6th of March, 7th of March, right here, these are all really good targets. In the same way that we could be doing this on the flip side, where it would be support rays, but we're now focused on the bullish upside potential. Now, the first thing that will happen is BTC first needs to conquer these two levels. I don't think it's that hard. It's really just like 2% away from the current price to conquer it all the way. Yeah, 2% up to 89K. I think that's extremely likely, but not necessarily today. Now, I am curious to see how North America will react when they turn on their charts and stuff and they see that Bitcoin's actually pumped today. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to actually make it shoot up and straight up. So there's a possibility that we might basically make another short-term high, and then BTC retraces. The good news about this move so far, though, is that this move of 2.6% is not a crazy pump. We have seen some crazy pumps, and usually when we see a crazy pump, we will see a pullback. So anything greater than 5%, in my opinion, for Bitcoin, that's a pretty big pump. So here we go, 4.79, here we go, 2.2, and then we get a pullback. So when we see these combined big moves that happen either in 1 day or 2 days, we're going to see some sort of a pullback the next day. Here's a here's a move of 3% and it gives it all away. Here's a move of 5% and it gives some of it away. Here's a big pump of 9% and it gives it all away. Now, there are different conditions and things that happen on each of these different pumps. I'm not going to get into the details, but we're just talking about price action. The ideal situation is that Bitcoin just parks here and stays here. And then tomorrow, prints another green candle to test and conquer these two levels. We haven't really started knocking out all these these resistance rays. What will happen is we'll start to get a short side liquidation squeeze, or a short liquidation squeeze, or a liquidation cascade to the upside. All three of those terms or those phrases will apply. And essentially, the concept is quite easy. Let's say, for example, that we are a very big leverage trader on Hyperliquid, and we do not have a stop loss, and we are not concerned about Bitcoin going up higher because every single time it's shot up, it's been rejected over and over and over again since $109,000. Therefore, I am betting against Bitcoin, and I'm going to be shorting it right here, hoping to make a profit as the price of Bitcoin falls down to $74,000. Again, I'm just making an example of a short seller's position right now where it's actually bullish, but just stick with me for a second. So what happens when the price actually goes against them? They're taking a short here and the price inches up 1%, 2% or so. If you're using 10x leverage, that's like a 17% loss, getting up to about 20% loss. You might have some late short sellers getting uncomfortable with the amount of loss that they're having. So they might panic close their short positions, which would be a market buy order, which would push the price up. And then we might see this continue to happen over and over and over again. And that's essentially what a short squeeze is. We have a lot of short sellers on the market that are betting against the market going up higher, but essentially their margin is equaling the loss. Because their margin equals the loss, the short sellers might be forced to close their position out of fear, or the exchange might say, you just got a margin call. Thank you very much. Thanks for playing. And they take their money and it pushes the price up higher with the market buy. Now, this strategy has worked out really well, shorting all of these big pumps ever since really about here in March. I wish I participated a lot more, but the reality is that we haven't seen any tests or pierces of overhead resistance until last week. Right now, it's getting a lot more dangerous to short Bitcoin, to bet against Bitcoin, because there's a lot of strength that is growing. It's not just the price either. Look at RSI. We have this long-term overhead resistance level that was established here in November and then supported here in January. We saw a test of it back in late March, a pierce, and now it's way above. We're going to be soon over 70 on RSI, which is amazing. That's a good sign. Look at on-balance volume. We were in a very strong downtrend, and then we've seen a big reversal where on-balance volume's moving average, this is just a 21 SMA applied to on-balance volume, is now moving up higher and higher. This is a really good sign of strength. Now, daily volume is still not exceeding the moving average, but all in all, this is looking really good. This is why it's, in my opinion, I would not be shorting Bitcoin right here. Is there a chance that it will have a pullback? Yeah, of course, it'll have a pullback. It's not going to print consecutively green candles forever, but it's getting riskier to bet against Bitcoin right now. Now, there's another thing to pay attention to in regards to the TBO, which is the trending breakout indicator. It's available through the Better Traders Club. When we see this orange diamond, and I talked about this in a video last week, I believe, I have to see, April 15th. So like 6 days ago. So this signal changes everything. Bitcoin's next move will shock you. I know it's a corny title, but hey, it worked. You watched the video. I'm going to link this one at the very end to help you understand why this signal, this orange dot right there, you can't see because it's behind the little play button, is such a big deal. But before I get into why, I also want to draw your attention to the description below this video. There's a ton of great deals that are available to you. Being an awesome subscriber to this channel, or if you're a visitor, you still get the goods, because Coin Bureau has negotiated some really good deals with non-KYC requiring exchanges like CoinCatch, like 2bit, or KYC requiring exchanges like Bybit, and other deals that are all available here on coinbureau.com/deals. I like and use CoinCatch. I have been using it. And if you generate enough trading volume, you're going to get some bonuses in doing so, which is awesome. There are also other exchanges that you can sign up for here on the Coin Bureau website. You can also join the Coin Bureau Club as well. But right here, you can actually sign up for 10% off of our course, The Better Traders, 50 Minutes to Financial Freedom. It includes one-on-one coaching. It includes access to the TBO, which I'm going to be talking about in a second, a lot of other stuff. So I just want to draw your attention to all this good stuff that's here. Now, going back to the charts, going back to the TBO, I want to emphasize that this is a bullish reversal signal, but it doesn't have to be the last one. Typically, what I like to see, I should say, is once we get one of these orange diamonds, I want to enter when the price pulls back, if I haven't taken an entry yet, back to the fast line. Now, we've seen a couple of teases of this happening, but there it is right there, Wednesday. Boom, that's it. So now we could see the price continue to move up higher. However, we do have a short-term target here of the TBO fast line at about 84,000 or so. But the fact of the matter is that because the price is inside the daily TBO cloud, we have now switched. We've switched in a big way. When the price is below the TBO cloud, really similar to using the Ichimoku clouds, if you've ever used that indicator, we are strong bearish. Price is below the cloud, strong bearish, but price inside of the cloud is now bullish consolidation. How can it switch from strong bearish to bullish consolidation? That's easy, because when the price is above, it's strong bullish, but when the price falls inside of the daily TBO cloud, right in here, we have now flipped from being strong bullish to bearish consolidation. And usually when the price falls inside of the cloud, it's a sign of weakness, and eventually we're going to see the price go to the lower side of the cloud. Vice versa, flip it on its head. Now that we've been strong bearish, now we're seeing bullish consolidation starting, which means that we're moving our way to the top of the cloud. And where is the top of the cloud right now? Well, the slow line's target is at 93K, but I still have my target over here. It's easier to see on the weekly time frame, but right about here at about 94K. It is taking way longer than I really want it to, but it is still my target. Now, what happens to Bitcoin when it hits 94K is another thing altogether. I personally think that we're going to see a little bit of a tag. We'll see the price of BTC go up to 94K, maybe a little bit above it, but we'll probably see it fall back down after there. I don't think it's going to fall anywhere down here to 75K, but I think falling down to like 80K is possible and just going to continue to chop sideways. Why? Well, because we're looking at almost the same exact thing that happened back here in the summer and also in the fall of 2024. Almost not the same, but it's really similar. I mean, we have a TBO close long on the weekly, TBO close long on the weekly. You could see that the price exceeded and it shot above by 10% above the TBO fast line, but it didn't just keep going up and to the right. Eventually, it pushed up above resistance, and resistance back then was here at about 70K. Resistance right now is at 106,000. And yes, I still believe that it is possible for Bitcoin to shoot up to $173,000 later this year. As wildly crazy as that sounds, I think it's completely feasible and possible. There are some other charts I want to share with you, but I want to remind you, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment with what you're learning, what you're excited about, or what you have questions about. I read the comments, I respond to the ones that I can and ones that I want to, let's be honest. Okay. The other thing to pay attention to right now, BVOL7D, which is the Bitcoin Historical Volatility Index, it's available through BitMEX, is now approaching the bounce zone. When we see BVOL7D falling, this means that we're seeing less volatility for Bitcoin. When we see it increasing, we're seeing more volatility in Bitcoin. Over the past 2 rounds of this, looking at late February and late March, both of these coincided with some pretty terrible moves that were very bearish. Seeing increased volatility meant a downside. Seeing increased volatility at the end of March meant a downside. Now, it doesn't always mean that the price of Bitcoin has to dump. Sometimes increased volatility means that Bitcoin is pumping. So don't interpret this bounce zone as everything's always going to be bearish as it pumps up. It just means that what used to not be so volatile is going to start becoming volatile, and volatility does not always equal bad moves. Now, I have a really good thing to share with you. I'm super excited about this. We have a TBO close long on the daily time frame. This alone is another video that I'm going to be making. I'm going to be talking about later because I don't have enough time in this video. But understand that this is an insanely bullish signal for stablecoin dominance and it's bearish for stablecoin dominance, but it's bullish for Bitcoin and the whole crypto market. More on that later. I know I gotta save some stuff for this week because there's so much happening. Bitcoin dominance is our main enemy right now. Because Bitcoin is pumping, it is very much Bitcoin season. You don't have to look at the altcoin season index to know that. If you look at Bitcoin versus a lot of other charts, Bitcoin is doing extremely well. It is holding up better than most of the market, which is why I've been telling you for a long time why it's so important to hold some Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a boo in your portfolio. I made a video talking about like this masterclass on how to get rich in the 2025 bull market, how to make a good portfolio, and I made a good case for keeping about 30% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. If you held Bitcoin for this last couple of months, you were doing so much better than someone who held Fartcoin the entire time. I'm looking at some of you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I do want that shame to result in a shift in your thinking that you will listen and you will understand that there's a time to hold Bitcoin and there's a time to use Bitcoin to buy coins. And that really depends on the health of others, which is actually starting to look pretty good. But keep in mind, others is strong, bearish. It is. I know it's trying to go inside of the daily cloud, but this chart is still not strong enough. Yes, on the daily time frame, RSI is pushing above. That's a good sign. But no, there is no strong trend. The daily TBO slow line is very much bearish. On the weekly, it is in bearish consolidation. It didn't go below the cloud. It could reverse here and go up higher, but still, we need to be very cautious with others right now, even though we are seeing some, and I'm going to talk about these charts while they're here in a second, that are moving up higher. And I want to make the case, again, yes, there will be a time that we can use our Bitcoin to buy altcoins, especially specifically low cap alts, but it's getting increasingly risky the longer it stays below this long-term support line. Seeing others BTC down this low does not give me confidence to use my Bitcoin to buy alts. So we need to be careful about that. There will be a pivot though. And when the others market cap starts to outperform Bitcoin, then that becomes a much more attractive time to use Bitcoin to buy others or to buy altcoins like LTC BTC, Solana BTC, WIF BTC, whether your exchange supports it or not. Now, I want to talk about these last 3 guys right here, but I do want to remind you that there are ways for you to leverage automated trading. And I actually have some really exciting news around this. I want to show you this here on All Trading. I've made some videos about All Trading on this channel and also on the More Coin Bureau channel. All Trading, in my opinion, is the best automated trading platform, not just for bot trading, but also for active trading, where you're just looking at the chart, placing trades. There are presets, there are lots of stuff. I actually use the TBO, and I have an automated strategy working right now, so that way every single buy and sell signal is either being generated from trading views sent over here, or I have fixed stop losses that are already here to help me close out of a position. Now, my current position is doing moderately well. I'm up 6%. I didn't have to open this position. It opened at a pretty terrible time, to be honest. I would never want to buy here. And even though it fell, it actually went against me and it chopped sideways, and I was like, is this going to go all right? I did move my stop loss up to protect profit just in case. But so far, this position's up 6%. I'm going to let it keep going because this is what automated trading looks like. And this isn't even just the DCA bots. This is trend trading. So there are benefits to doing this. And I actually have some really awesome news because there is something exciting happening with us and All Trading called the Better Trader Summit. If you're going to be at Consensus in Toronto, Canada, I think it's 14th to 16th, but we have a special event with All Trading, an in-person training event at the Soho Hotel. There's actually a lot of information on the Better Traders website. You'll have to go to click the link that's in the description below to go to that, but you got to save your seat. We only have 30 seats available for this, but there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of fantastic stuff happening around Consensus, and our event is one of them. So I just want to let you know about that before I finish up with these 3 important charts. Now, why do I have these charts here? What's so great about Stacks, Tau, and WIF? Well, let's start first with STX or Stacks. Right now, Stacks today is looking pretty good. It's up about 9%. And from the beginning of the day to the top, it's actually pumped up about 14%. When we start seeing reversal rallies, we're going to see coins that everyone thought were dead start to make a comeback from the grave. And it's going to throw a lot of people off guard because they're going to think, well, no, this shouldn't be going up. I'm going to short this, or I'm going to sell this on the first little pump. Conviction, and actually, no, let me say it this way. Patience pays. If you're in one of these positions, I'm in a position right now on WIF that I've been waiting a long time for, and I've been DCAing and patiently waiting. I still have a lot more to go to finally close in the green, but I'm sticking to my strategy. And a chart like Stacks that is pumping short term on this first little move right here, be careful, because what could happen is we could see the price stall here and then fall down, just like over here on this big push. But if Bitcoin continues to push up and take out these targets, expect a lot of these charts to start pumping way more and way harder than Bitcoin. Tau is a great example. Over the last 5 days, Tau has moved up about 48%. This first move of 7%, or even this move on Friday up 10%, a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, this is going to be pumping up here. It's at resistance. I'll go ahead and short this. Oops, sorry. Thanks for playing. The important thing you have to know is that this is not the time to be looking for short opportunities. At least that's what I'm doing. I'm avoiding shorting. I'm looking at a lot of charts starting to become extremely bullish. I'm seeing lots of really good signs, but there are charts that are not there yet. And that's why WIF is here. Even though I like WIF, even though I personally have a position on WIF and I'm waiting for it to close, it's still going to be a while. And I'm not going to be giving up on this position because I've done this for too long and I know what's going to happen next. Everyone's going to be doubting WIF. People are going to be shorting the reversal. And once it starts moving up higher, ideally above the previous high, or even like up here, then it really takes off and people are going to be like, what? There's no way that should not be going up higher. They short against it. They're going against the market. They think they've outsmarted the market because you've been trained by this whole bearish downtrend that no, short every pump. But unfortunately, the first pump, while it may seem like, oh, that's it, that's all I can do, just be careful because the first pump could easily lead to another one, to another one, and to another one. Case in point, Onyx Coin last week had an incredible pump. One day it pumped up 43% and 60%. And admittedly, it feels like, well, there's no way it could keep going. After it moved up this high, it actually moved up the next day, in total 114. And again, the next day, 225%. You have to understand that when charts start pumping that were once ignored and oversold, that everyone forgot about, people are going to be shocked to see these charts come back from the grave, pushing up to higher highs, pumping literally out of nowhere. Do not go against the trend. I have a book right here and I keep it right next to my head, hoping that some of you will pick up the idea that the best way to make money in crypto in any market is trend following. You're always going to feel too early when you start buying in when you're trend following, or you're going to feel like, oh no, I'm buying at the absolute top. It's going to be reversing from here. You would be surprised at how well trend following works. You just have to stick to that strategy. And if you don't like the idea of trend following, then give DCA a try, because at least with DCA, you're inching into a position. You're not going all in full bore. You're just adding a little bit. And then you're seeing if there's a pullback, okay, I'm going to add a little bit more. And if it goes up higher, you take a little bit of profit. Then you can reinvest those profits on the next pullback. Like, it's a great trading strategy, especially on charts that are heavily oversold, which is pretty much everything right now. I'm excited about Bitcoin. There are still significant resistance ray levels that we're watching, really around 88,500. 94K honestly is right around the corner. It does depend on how well Bitcoin closes today. And hopefully we're not going to see a massive pump, because that would mean that we probably have a retracement tomorrow, the next day, or sometime this week, like half the height of the pump. So it's better to see nice, slow, and steady green moving up and to the right, but we'll have to just play it safe. But the main thing is that Bitcoin above this resistance line, things are going to get really good and really exciting for the entire crypto market. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.